The one major thing that I really like about Favreau and Filoni is that they really keep fans in the loop. They're teasing, they're hinting at a lot of things, and they're really keeping fans excited about what's to come next after one project after the other. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, given that Filoni himself has been very much direct and talkative with the fans for the past couple of weeks now, promoting the Mandalorian, the Ahsoka series, and even more to do with the Bad Batch Season 2, Filoni's really been on his A-game. He's really been providing a lot of details and hints about what's to come in the future of Star Wars and exactly, what Filoni wants to do in order to really fulfill the entire fandom at heart. Now, on top of this, we know that Filoni is all about bringing back Star Wars Legends characters, storylines, and also, bringing specific characters together and doing all these amazing emotional moments that are going to be a great big deal in Mando Season 4 and beyond. Now, on top of all of this, we know that Filoni has been a lot more, I guess you could say, direct when it comes to the projects that he's been working on, like Mando Season 4 and the Ahsoka series, and what those two projects are really going to entail. And most recently, he was being questioned about the Skywalker saga, the Skywalkers themselves, and what he himself really had to say about everything related to that. So let's dive into exactly what Filoni had to say that he believes is going to make fans very much emotional and even shedding tears and crying over a specific thing that he and John are working on as we speak. So, moving on, with John and Dave focusing on their new Star Wars TV shows and projects that are actively in the works, Filoni has been teasing many things for the future of Star Wars and where it's going to go for the fandom. However, in a recent interview, Dave Filoni went on to tease something very interesting for the fans by stating the following. Myself and John have been focusing on moments that we can make very emotional for the fan base, and we have one thing in mind that we believe will absolutely make fans cry. I can't give everything away right now, but I will hint that we are in the planning stages of how we can bring both father and son together again, such as Luke and Anakin, and what that would look like on screen, and it's something that me and John have been going over for the past couple of months now, for a future installment that's well into the works. We seriously believe fans are going to shed tears over this big moment that we have been thinking about, and that we are taking our time on to make sure that we can make it impactful to the audience. Now, let me just pause here for a second. Now, Dave Filoni and John, they always like to go over these brainstorming ideas that they have in mind, and this is one of the biggest ones, because we know that a lot of concept art and storyboard descriptions for Mando Season 4 actually, yes, does involve a full-fledged reunion between both Luke and Anakin. Now, Anakin, of course, being a Force ghost, obviously, and holding a lot of dialogue to finally speak as a Force ghost, something that we never got to see visually speaking on screen. We only heard him in The Rise of Skywalker. That's the closest thing that we got to Anakin's Force ghost actually talking. So, when you look at something like Dave Filoni, putting something so emotional together as a father and son reunion, this actually reminds me of something straight from the Shadows of the Sith book that debuted in June of 2022, and I won't really spoil everything, but there is a connection in there between Luke and Anakin that's very similar. That's about as far as I will go. It's a very great read, by the way. Go ahead and check it out. It really, I think, is more satisfying than any of the sequel trilogy films when it comes to the lore surrounding Luke. Now, on to the next big thing here is that Favreau also goes on to, work on with Filoni about all these different, ideas and concepts that they're putting together piece by piece, and they really just want to make sure that everything that's coming out of this is really going to be, on the top of their game, something that's going to be over the top amazing. So, Filoni goes on to tease the following again. I can't really reveal what the scene really entails, other than that we are planning to bring both Skywalkers together again someday, sharing some very emotional dialogue together. This is something that I always felt should have been done in the movies that JJ and Ryan, I think, missed such a big opportunity to fulfill for the community. We have been speaking with Hayden about the scene, and we are building our way into featuring Anakin in many ways of our projects we have been working on in several ways. It's going to be a game changer as to where we plan to make this happen and what really leads up to this reunion that I have to keep a secret for a while, but just know it is something that we are working on for the fandom, and it has been an idea for a very long time now. So, the other thing that I do want to touch on real quick is that FAVREAU is really putting it out there that he and John have been talking about two Skywalkers meeting up again, father and son having a reunion again in either The Mandalorian or a new installment. Now, obviously, he's alluding to Mando Season 4. We've been talking about this for a very long time now, that there are several storyboard descriptions that we went over that involve Luke and Anakin meeting on Ossus, alright? That is, by the way, the location of his Jedi Temple training school. And basically, there's not much story-wise that tells us exactly what the scene's going to entail, other than the fact that it takes place on Ossus. It's going to involve Anakin providing key lessons to Luke, and that's about it. Nothing really specific just yet. That's what John and Dave are trying to really figure out. So this was a big, answer to a question that they were able to give out after they were being pressed about Anakin's presence in Luke Skywalker's life in the Mandoverse and exactly where that could really go. And FAVREAU and Filoni, really putting it out there that, this is something that's in the works, it's in the cards, and they believe it's going to make fans cry and shed tears. And you know what? It will. If it's very well written and executed, it's going to be very emotional. And if they can create such an impact like that on the audience, who knows what else they're capable of doing when it comes to bright scenes just like this. So, on the other end of the spectrum here, alright, we know that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to really devalue Anakin Skywalker by implementing a new chosen one in the Acolyte series and a lot more on top of that. That's another problem that I think a lot of fans are really just not ready for, so to speak. So, anyways, there's a lot of great things coming out of John and Dave. Not only do we have Anakin appearing in Ahsoka Season 1 and 2, but as well as Darth Vader. We know that Hayden is involved in those projects, but not just that, they're also dragging him in to the Mandalorian series. And this is exactly what John kind of teased a couple of days ago, that Mando 4 is also going to have surprise cameos, and without a doubt, he is alluding to this father and son reunion, there's no doubt about that. So this is something that has been long in the waiting. Ever since the end of Return of the Jedi, a lot of fans have been waiting for a true reunion between father and son, where they're just talking one-on-one, together, alone. And that's something that I think is going to be very powerful. So anyways, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to moon.